You guys know what sucks? Millennial gym culture is over. I'm 39 years old. I don't know how old you are, but if you're right there, like pretty close to my age group, I'm not sure if it's quite clicked yet. I'm not sure if it's set in for you yet, but millennial gym culture is over. You remember what the world was like in like 2010? You know, all the guys were going to GNC and buying test boosters, buying Cell Tech, protein powder, micronized creatine from Optimum Nutrition, gold standard whey protein, fat burners. We use terms like jacked and tan, jacked and juicy, bro. All the women were wearing leggings and white Converse with their nice bubble butts that they got at the gym, or yoga pants, little crop tops. Millennial gym culture from like 2007 up until like 2019, it's gone. You go to the gyms now and everybody has their AirPods in. Everybody's closed off. Nobody wants to talk. The gym is like a very lame, very boring place now. And everybody's hip to supplements, and GNC pretty much went out of business. So, like, everything's different. Gym culture, the culture that we had, is gone. And it just doesn't exist anymore. It's not coming back. And, it's something that we have to deal with. It's kind of depressing, though, being a millennial, because we're right there on the cusp of like being old. We were young, and as a man speaking, like, our girls were so cool. Our gym girls, our gym shorties, gym baddies were so cool. So hot, so fun, so sexual. Just so exciting to be around, You would get that friend request. They'd send you that message on Messenger or slide in your DMs on Instagram. And it was like, it was that fucking cutie that you saw at the gym. And she just wants to like hang out. She wants you to come over. And, that was gym culture. Like dude bro gym culture. And we rocked it out. And the gym was a place for people to be social. Everybody had so much fun. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody would give you a spot. It's like you would go there by yourself, but you always had workout partners. You'd go there not to meet women, but you'd always meet women. And they'd smile and everything was fun. But you go to the gym now, and it's a whole different vibe. Ever since the wireless earbuds came out, it's changed everything. Everybody's very antisocial at the gym. You might get reported for trying to start a conversation with somebody. They don't want you to interrupt their song. They're off, they're zoning out, doing their own thing. And plus, everybody has we're so 20 years into camera phones now that it's weird. Like, people record people doing weird shit, and everybody's like standoffish, scared you're going to take pictures of them or something. So everything's like all off. And that whole gym culture that we had, that millennial gym culture, it's gone. And furthermore, the people that lived it, all the women that lived it, now they're like 40. Think about that. They're not there, they're not young and having fun anymore. Some of them are like bitter. Dudes are tired and don't want to hang out anymore. So millennial gym culture is just like faded out. And everything that came along with it. And I say millennial gym culture because it was so ingrained in millennial culture. Like, we were the first ones to have bodybuilding.com misc. You aware, bro? You aware? We had those forums and we learned about all the different pro hormones and SARMs and test boosters, whether they worked or not, and creatine and nitric oxide boosters and sick pump, Pump Max 101, whatever supplements they were coming out with. And we'd always go into GNC, and there would always be, supplements that like had some weird proprietary blends in them. We had no clue what they did, but the bottle looked cool and it said like Muscle Builder Pump Max on it, 7,000 or something. We'd be like, hell yeah, and they would talk us into buying it. We'd buy it and it wouldn't do shit. At best, they would be like boner pills, and then we would take it, go to the gym, work out, meet girls, hook up with them. And that was just life, right? Like, that was life for a millennial. We had such a cool culture. We had so much fun. And now it's all digital. Everybody's on their phones. Nobody wants to talk. And it's depressing. It's depressing what we've turned into. But it's nostalgic to think about, isn't it? Many of you guys, if you've been subscribing to me since like 2014, back when we used to do workout videos and supplement videos and things like that, back then gym culture was so crazy. And I know you were a part of gym culture. And isn't it like nostalgic to think of like being back in like 2012 and it's like fall, football season has just started. You've got these women wearing these like super tight like spandex skinny jeans. They look like jeans, but they're stretch, super tight with their bubble butts. Maybe they're wearing Uggs and they have like a flannel on, but they're smiling, they're having fun. You're jacked and juicy, and it's time to link up and get together. Or it's time to meet up with your bros and go grab a beer. We're counting our macros, so we got to drink the low-carb beer, but we're still going to link up and have fun. Well, that whole culture is gone. It sucks, right? But that was our culture. So if you're part of millennial gym culture, even CrossFitters, CrossFitters got a lot of shit. That's another thing. Remember, that was a part of millennial gym culture, was CrossFit. They got a lot of shit, in some cases rightfully so, but they were part of it. Like, you remember, like, you might have went to high school with some girl and she was like average, but she started CrossFitting, and all of a sudden she has like a six-pack. She's like a fucking model all of a sudden, like a super hot model from CrossFit. Even though it's like a goofy workout, still got a lot of people in shape. But we were serious about that, weren't we? If it fits your macros, intermittent fasting, gosh, all sorts of stuff. It's because YouTube came out, really. When we went from like 2008, GNC supplements to like YouTube videos and the Rich Pianas and the Hodge twins and the Ziz bras and you name it, like all of the people from that era. The Del Rey Misfits, Cali Muscle, Mark Lobliner, Chris Jones, Mike O'Hearn, he's still doing his thing. What a great time that was, though. What a great time to be alive. You go to the gym now and you don't see it. Have you guys noticed that? You notice you go to the gym and nobody talks? And all the young guys are black-pilled. They're all doomers. They say, none of these girls put out. None of these women want to hook up. And some of them do. Some Zoomers are out there having fun, but I don't think it's quite like the millennial gym culture. We got that first hit of social media. When we were in high school, we didn't have social media. But right around the time when we were old enough to drink, like 21, old enough to buy beer, social media hit, and it was a huge party. We had a nice little 10 plus year run, just millennials in their 20s, millennials from I would say 21 to 35, just that nice run when we were crushing it and having fun. Then it ended. I don't know, I was just thinking about that on my way home tonight, and I figured, you know what, it's been a while since I've uploaded on this channel, so I'll come in here and I'll shoot the shit with these guys. See what they have to say about it. What do you guys think? You know, doesn't it suck that we've lost that culture? Like, and isn't it a little bit nostalgic to go back and think about it? I think it is. All right, guys. Hope you have a good night, and hope you get out there and build some muscle, and I hope you bring back gym culture. One step at a time. Let's all do it. Walk up to your fellow man at the gym on Monday morning and say, "You're looking jacked and tan, bro. You're looking swole, bro." Don't walk up to a girl and tell her anything, because nowadays, like, I mean, you might get kicked out of the gym for it, but if you know she's cool, do it. You know, we got to bring that back as much as we can, because it's ours. It's all we have left. All right, guys. This sun's killing me. I'm going to have to go ahead and shut this one off. Peace.
Subscribe to the channel.